Hello everyone, we are NeoSPCC and here is our update since August when we had our previous community meeting. We work on NeoFS and NeoGo projects first let's talk about NeoFS. We were mostly working on stability improvements and bug fixes. We did a significant S3 compatibility improvements during this period, and now we work not only with a simple command line utilities, we also tested the compatibility with enterprise backup systems like Vim, and it works okay. We did a big improvement in our tree service, which allows to combine objects into the structured hierarchy, which is our way to provide versioning for the S3, and in future it may be used to provide file system like drivers for the NeoFS. We now support data evacuation from the single shard of the storage node and from the node in whole. So if, for example, your NeoFS storage node has some disk malfunctioning, it will be switched to the degraded mode when it will be used in a read-only for read-only operations, and then you can evacuate the data to make sure that everything is clean before you remove the drive or you replace it. We also published more than 200 integration and failure test scenarios. We have a new repository which is now public on our GitHub, and this test suite can be used for NeoFS compatibility tests for other NeoFS implementations, like one done in C#. Using those tests, we did a significant performance and stability boost again. Now we are working on 25 gigabits per second on the enterprise hardware, and we can fully utilize this network capacity. And we are now working on the documentation side and our NeoFS site updates to provide more information about system internals and make it more friendly for the end user to set up own node and start working with NeoFS. So previous time we showed the NeoFS panel demo, and now it's ready for deployment. We are waiting for the mainnet and testnet updates. Unfortunately, we can't do it right away because we need a notary subsystem support. It works in testnet, but we need to do it in mainnet also. For the local deployments, we updated the NeoFS all-in-one repository, so now you can locally use the NeoFS in a container to experiment with it and debug your applications. And also we added the macOS support on ARM notebooks. And finally, we have Debian packages, so all NeoFS stack is now installable to any Debian system. During this period, we worked a lot with the issues. So for the NeoFS node, gateway, and other services, we have many new issues found using automated tests, and most of them are now fixed. We also closed many of the long-lasting issues for the S3 mainly. And that's all for the current update. Our next steps includes mostly mainnet and testnet updates for the NeoFS. As I mentioned before, we need to figure out the notary subsystem requirements. After that, we will deploy the NeoFS panel, which is Wallet Connect integrated. So to use NeoFS, you will be able to just use your browser without any third-party software installation or without any complex local node manipulations. And we are updating our doc site and NeoFS site. We plan a restructure, and now the redesign is ready. So all of our site will be styled in the same way as the main neo.org site is done. And we expect the SDK 1.0, which many people asked for, with a stable interfaces for the API. It's almost complete. You can use the SDK release candidate now for few months already, but we still want to spend some time on the stabilization. And next year, in long term, using the tree service, we plan to start working on the Razor coding support and the duplication support. But that's a long-term goals, and they require changes, significant changes in the core of the NeoFS itself, mostly in the security subsystem with access control list, etc. So do not expect them in a first quarter at least. That's all for NeoFS Tech. Next, let's go for NeoGo. Roman.
Thank you. Moving on to NeoGo. As previously, we have two main so-called tracks of what we're doing in NeoGo. That's the node itself and the app APIs, SDKs, basically all the things that we provide to write contracts in Go, smart contracts in Go. So on the node side, we, of course, have made some releases and did our regular node maintenance, bug fixing, things like that. And actually, I wanted to say thanks to community members that were submitting bugs to us that we were fixing then and improving our node. It was a valuable feedback for us. And we also have improved some things in the P2P subsystem of our node. That's the connection handling. Mostly that's important for smaller networks like the ones used by NeoFS setups. We have more reliable and quicker setups for these networks now, I think. Less reconnects in various cases and more stable behavior. And we also have optimized our gossip and some transaction handling. So we have better TPS metrics for network scenarios as well in our new node releases that are available already. Also, we have implemented some maybe somewhat strange functionality that allows to reset node state to some previous block. I doubt many people will use it, but it's there for you if you really want to do that. And that's also a part of the recent releases. So on the smart contract SDK side, we have completed our RPC client refactoring, and that's an important step because we have already this new API is already used by NeoFS, and that improved the backend code considerably, removing hundreds of lines of code and actually allowing to better handle some corner cases. And also allowing to have some optimized wait loops for transactions based on notifications. So yeah, that's what we have already. And we also have implemented state-dependent VM CLI. The VM CLI itself is kind of is one of the oldest things we have in the node. It actually was first implemented to just support some simple scripts like, that don't use any interrupts, that are pure VM code. And it was like that basically till the September, I guess, this year. Now we can also do some things with using this chain context, any chain, mainnet, testnet, whatever have you, private networks. And you can use it to run not just simple scripts, but also invoke some contracts and basically do some debugging, although it does not yet support any debug data. I think we will do that in the future, but it's not yet ready. Other than that, yes, it's already released as well, and you can use it. So what we have in the progress right now is DPFT research that mostly we're mostly concerned about liveness log. We know exists in the DPFT protocol, and we also want to have a better understanding of the DPFT 3.0 changes that are proposed for the protocol. So to better implement it, review it, we're doing some research right now. And also we are currently improving the RPC binding code generator we have for smart contracts. So a part of this work is already released and is available for use. I think it covers most of the regular use cases, but we know there is some additional data to be passed from smart contracts to the outside world to improve this RPC binding generation that mostly deals with the type data. The structured types and array types, they are still can be improved, and we are working on that. So that's what we have in progress and done already, and now let's move on to the things we are planning right now. So on the Node side, of course, we will be implementing the protocol changes we have in the queue, and the upcoming 3.5.0 release, and all the associated things. We are also working on merging the Notary subsystem into the main protocol, and we actually had some progress there in September, but now it seems to be stalled. But we'll be pushing it again because, as had been noted already, this affects NeoFS mainnet operation as well. So that's important for us. And we also want to try some storage schema optimization for the Neo contract because we think it can be optimized and made to have a little less data in the database that's used for some gas calculations. So I think we will try that, but that's a bit experimental. We don't know what's gonna happen. Maybe it will work fine. Maybe it's not gonna work. So that's kind of a research topic for us too. But what we are also will be doing in the nearest future is working on the RPC and RPC error code standardization. We have this proposal sitting in the queue for some time already. I think it's time for us to move on with this as well, because this will be beneficial for all node implementations and users of the RPC API. Also, as we are working on the various bindings for smart contracts, we want to extend NEP14 smart contract API to have more rich type data. So I think we will be making a proposal for that too. And we have two more things from the previous to-do list. That's about smart contract data from different chains to be able to transfer them from one chain to another. And yes, that's still in our queue. And we also still want to have some support for storage schemas. So yes, we will be doing that as well. I think that's what we have for NeoGo. Thanks.